Naked Rancher here, and this is my brother Mac Allen, and he is in charge of Team Mac and has some of his teammates here. So Mac, I'd like for you to explain what's happening with the Boston Marathon and what we're doing.
All right, well, we're running the virtual Boston Marathon. This year, since Boston was canceled, we're having a race wherever you want to run it. And a group of my teammates and myself decided to come to Marathon, Texas to run 26.2 miles. Chris Neugebauer and Meg Hare and myself will be running. But we wanted to bring the spirit of Boston with us. And thanks to the Naked Rancher for providing these signs. We'll start in Hopkinton. As everyone knows, that's the famous start to the Boston Marathon. A 5K later, we'll enter the village of Ashland. Ashland actually was the original start of the marathon. It's about a 25-mile race. But at the London Marathon, the Queen had wanted, the race to finish in front of the castle. And so they had to add a little bit of distance, and it came up to 26.2 miles. And the distance has remained the same since then. That's why it was moved from Ashland to Hopkinton. Next is the 10K mark, the famous Framingham train station. This is an older picture. You can tell by the age of the cars. There is something interesting to it that it sticks out as not being correct. I doubt at first look you can figure it out, but that is an interesting part of that photo.
You've got to tell us what it is.
Well, Andy Jelinek did this and did an excellent job of it. However, there is a woman running in it. And in the early 1900s, there were no women running, unfortunately. The first woman was in the 1960s, Bobby Gibb. The 15K mark is Natick, and I've always liked Natick because the crowds are so big in Boston at the start and along the route that you get to Natick, and that's really the first time things are kind of peaceful. It kind of quiets down by the lake there, and I believe it's Lake Cochituate. You know which lake is there? But you run by the lake and all of a sudden there's no noise at all. And I love the noise and the encouragement, but it's kind of a nice peacefulness there for a little bit. Speaking of noise, the next big stop is Wellesley College, the Wellesley Screech. Everybody loves going through there. Really appreciate the women screaming for us. And it's been said that some of the folks like it so much they run through, do a U-turn, and come back and run through a second time.
That's funny.
And then you start to get into the hills. You make a big right turn on the Commonwealth Avenue at the Newton Fire Station. This is a big landmark along the course. And one year, it's kind of interesting, just a real quick story. I was having a bad year. I think I was walking, and Chris actually saw me. And I got to Newton. I said, well, I'm just going to call it a day. So I walked into the fire station. They were having a big party, and so I wasn't going to get anybody's attention there. So I walked across the street. There was a medical tent. And anyway, they weren't real helpful because they were having a line of people there, and I was actually not sick. I was just ready to jump on a sweet bus. So I walked back out on the course. I was going to go over and get a cab, and a friend of mine, Jay Wynn, who I hadn't seen in forever, saw me, said, help me finish. I've got like 15 in a row. I need to finish. So I ended up finishing that year. Heartbreak Hill. Everybody knows about Johnny Kelly and the way Heartbreak Hill got named. He was chasing Tarzan Brown up the hill in 1936, I believe, and he caught him. So, just to make a long story shorty, tapped him on the shoulder to let him know he was there. Well, that, of course, inspired Tarzan, and he finished the race well ahead of Johnny Kelly. And so the sports writer at the time said he broke Johnny Kelly's heart. And that's how the hill got its name, Heartbreak Hill. There's a famous sick ghost sign. Everybody loves to see it. You can see it from about 4 miles away. But the funny thing is that it always looks 4 miles away. When you finally get to it, though, it's 1 mile to the finish. So anyway, appreciate the signs. And
What we do is to explain why we're doing a run here in Marathon, Texas versus Boston.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, the COVID-19 has put everyone in a predicament when it comes to crowds. And so a lot of the races are being canceled. Boston tried to have it. They postponed it from their April date to September 14th.
Oh, okay.
But then, you know, we're still not over it. So they decided instead of canceling it altogether, they'll change it to a virtual race. BAA.org is a website you can get on, and it'll explain a lot better than I just did about the Boston Marathon. Yeah, we look forward to doing it.
And how many people do you think overall will be doing this virtually?
I think it's maybe 18,000.
Oh, that's
There were
fabulous.
30,000 for the real race, but not everybody signed up for the virtual.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Team Mac
Ready
Allen.
for putting us on.
Absolutely love you. Naked Rancher out.